Hey everyone, Cole with GZ, new release preview for Friday, December 6th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Hawaii time. This week we got brand new LS lures. I know a lot of you have been looking for some of those. We have new Crampton Baits, first restock in a while. We got our last batch of Pulsators. And then we have a new release of some MOMOI mono line and 1,000-yard spools, and then we have some JOE YEE lures. We'll go over all that here in a minute. Before we get started, later on this week we're going to release a video on drag settings through our elite channel, elite.gzlures.com, to sign up for our elite members. And we don't have any new GZ Elite Live calls on schedule yet, but we're working on that. We have a few guys that we have pinpointed that we're going to try and do calls with, so stay tuned for all that. But elite.gzlures.com, I think 2 weeks ago we did a video. We did another one on Wahoo lures, just a basic Wahoo lures 101, going over what is a Wahoo lure. Very basic video, and we're going to try and get a lot more professional content from people who are very professional Wahoo fishermen as well, because that is not our specialty per se. Our specialty is mostly billfish, heavy tackle stuff. So we're trying to get some more content that you guys would like that's on the more professional level on that. So, but we know enough to talk about Wahoo lures. So going forward with the release now, we have large plungers on this side. You can see the yellowfin and skipjack. What is really cool about this batch, he did some quadruple pours. Most of the ones that are here are quadruple pours. There are a few that are triple pours, but if you look at, I'll just take this one that's a head only. You can see it's got a black back. You see a dark blue stripe and a light blue stripe, and then clear belly. So it's a quadruple pour. They're a little bit more expensive because of that, because of the time process and all that. And of course, this is the yellowfin. You can see the bright, flashy colors on there. Most of these are, I'll call them taxidermy eyes because that's kind of what they look like, are a white eye. And then you have some with red eyes here. And then we do have some skipjack. Skipjack's the same way, they're quadruple pours. And then same eye style and all that. I think we've released these in the past. The only difference is the amount of pours that he did. So here's the large, here's the medium. We did most of these are done in olive vive. I apologize, firetails, and then we do have some olive vive vinyl ones as well. And then the last one, we just have one of these. This was a pretty big favorite called the dark plunger. So it's got a rainbow insert, but it's very dark, as you can see, kind of like a smoke color. That is it for LS lures. I know you guys are going to ask. Flyers are on the way, or they will be here in the near future, so stay tuned for that. Crampton Baits. We have 2 or 3 releases of these. I don't remember, but we're starting off with tubes here. You can see we did vinyl and firetails vinyl, and then we have some head only. Then here's a 1/4 tonners, and we got in. So if you're not familiar and you don't follow him, if you look at this label, it says Crampton Lures. Crampton Lures is basically a non-real shell insert. So he started another segment of his production, and here's your Crampton Baits with the real shell. You can see the slabs in there. So Crampton Baits, just for your own knowledge, Crampton Baits are real shell inserts, and then Crampton Lures is kind of, he does pearl. I believe his salt and pepper style goes under the Crampton Lures. So he just had to those distinguished a little bit. So if there's any confusion there, that is the explanation there. So again, tubes, 1/4 tonners, new flat nose tubes. When we worked with Scott Crampton, within the last year before he passed, we did a couple rounds of these. So these are flat nose tubes, and they all have beveled edges on them. They'd be great for rough water. And then we have the mini DT. This was a very popular one when we had it last. This is a new shape. So we have the mini DT. I think Chris was here and had his hands on one of them, and we had like 5 or 6 people try and buy the same lure. We now have a restock of mini DTs, so there's limited batch there. All right, that is it for Cramptons, but again, we'll have one or two more releases with all the other shapes coming out. New Pulsators. Okay, I gotta refresh my memory. This is the Boaster. Boaster, if you look at it, it's kind of got a little bit of a wide hip shape, kind of like the sumo style, but you can see the distinguishing cuts and angles on those. They're not the same thing at all, but it's one of those shorter nosed baits that has heavy front taper and a little bit of reverse taper on that. That's the Boaster. Next we got the Big Blue Instigator, a little bit more of a round shape, so a lot more heavy front and reverse taper on that one. Big Blue Instigator, we have 4 options there. And then lastly we have the Riggler. Riggler is kind of a double tapered, it looks like a plunger, but it's actually a scoop nose. So we have a scoop nose on it, but it's got that plunger shape to it otherwise. So a pretty aggressive scoop shape there. We have 4 of those. So that is it for our Pulsator release. What is available at this point, that's what we have until we restock them, if you've been waiting for those to finish up. Next, we only have 80 and 60 pound in. We have 100 and 130 coming in. We had a customer who wanted to get in some of the MOMOI Hi-Catch Diamond Mono line. So we brought in 1,000-yard spools. We have a couple extra, and we're gonna keep those stocked. And like I said, we're gonna have all the other sizes as well. And they come in 4 colors. If you're familiar with them, we will probably stock up most of those colors. So, but for now, if just so you're aware, 60 and 80 pound is available to purchase online, and the others will be here probably within a week. JOE YEE Lures. So they are still, Joe went before he passed. And I've said this before, he had racks of lures just stashed away. Now, these are newer production. If you look at the eyes, they're newer style eyes. So over here, I'll just talk about the eyes for a second. We have colored shell eyes. That was right before he passed that he made all these. I think our first release of these was, we literally purchased them just before he passed. And then we have shell, almost looks like they're handmade eyes, but that's real shell eyes on there. And then we have some of the standard handmade eyes. So 2 super plungers here. We have 6 medium plungers and then 2 Jimmy boys. The prices are going to reflect that. Obviously these are very limited production now. These are no longer being made. I have actually 2 lures that Keg's made. He's doing new labels for them, so it distinguishes between the old JOE Yees and anything that's going to be newly produced. That will be coming down in just a little bit, the Keg stuff. But the JOE Yees, these are all 100% authentic, made by Joe. These are not made by Steven or someone else. These are made by Joe. He just has a bunch of lures that he had made that they're still going to produce. And so the price can reflect that because there's only so many left. But I do know that, like, especially older ones, there were just containers of old lures. It was like a museum in there. I went and met them a couple years ago. And then if you've seen our video on our JOE Yee interview between Chris and Joe, you'll see their racks of stuff. And that's just, they didn't show you everything. So just, anyway, we're working with Steven on getting some more of these released. We're not the only one that carries them, but I don't know how long we can get these in. So prices will reflect a little bit of an increase. It costs more for us to get them as well. I think it's all completely understandable given that there's only so much left. So that is it for this week. If you have any questions, need anything rigged, obviously you can rig all these lures up. We can do it in-house. We just finished up our GZ Black Week. We built hundreds of rigs, I swear. And we're ready to go build more. So if you need anything rigged up, happy to do that. You'll be seeing a lot more tackle from us, like the MOMOI line. We're gonna be bringing in some new stuff, in particular over the next 1 to 3 months. We're gonna get ready for next season. So stay tuned for all that. We're moving towards a one-stop shop environment while sticking with our niche and what we're good at. So, all right, that's all I got. Thanks everyone. Have a good week.